I want to welcome everyone to the Park and Rec Commission meeting, Monday, June 4th. Calling the meeting to order at 6:33. I'm Claire K. Dunn, Vice Chair, stepping in for Rose Doster, who couldn't be here tonight. We want to do the public forum first and then move them up, or just move them up first?
I think probably public forum first, yeah.
We'll start with public forum if there's anyone here that would wish to speak.
Hello, my name is Heather Allure. I'm supposed to give you my address, is that
Yes,
correct?
please.
645 Durham Road, Guilford, Connecticut. I'm here to talk about the disc golf course in Bittner Park. I went to the town website, and after doing quite a bit of searching, since the agenda wasn't available for tonight or last May's minutes, I found there was a piece that starting after today, you could start cutting trees in Bittner Park, and I would like to oppose the initial cutting of trees in Bittner Park for the disc golf course. It seems to be quite out of order since on June 25th, this same piece on the website says then there would be a walkthrough for the public. As far as I can find, there is no map for the public. It does mean cutting all trees less than 8 inches. It means you would cut every single witch hazel, you'd cut every single elderberry, you'd cut every single mulberry. You would be cutting all of the smaller species. So you would be decimating all of those. I'd also like to bring to your attention that in a peer-reviewed journal, scientific journal on the epidemiology of disc golf injuries, 81% of players of disc golf have had injuries, most of them to the elbow. Over 300 injuries to the elbow of participants in this study, including back and other parts of the body. Those are the people who are playing it. 81% of people have had an injury. These trails are around that. On this very short article on the town website, it says that 2 trails could be closed or moved. We don't know what they are. And as I've said before, the Bittner Park trails are the most heavily used trails for families of people who live in Guilford. They're very heavily used. And not only are there environmental concerns, I feel that there are a lot of safety concerns, not only to the players, but it is a hard disc that's used. The disc can go quite quickly. Having all the trees as obstacles also means that they can bounce off and injure people. So I feel that you are advancing on this very, very quickly to both initiate cutting trees and moving ahead on a sport that I don't really see the residents of Guilford are requesting, and displacing those because people are not going to feel safe walking in a place where there are hard, speeding discs flying by them. People are just not going to do it. So you're displacing the most heavily used trails, and I really wish you would reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Anyone else wish to address?
Hi, I'm Cynthia Brandt, 70 White Birch Drive, and I'm opposed to going forward without any data to support the need. I looked at the website, and I mean I've played frisbee golf. Yes, this is the disc, and I played it for a couple years when I lived in Kentucky, and I played it all of twice actually. It basically destroys the parks. The things weren't maintained, and the main players are 30-year-old. When you look at the demographics, they're 30-year-old men. 95% of the players are in their 30s, 25 and 30-year-old men, and about 4 to 7% are women, depending on which state. There's about 26 parks at least in Connecticut as of 2017, and about 200 so registered disc players on the amateur website for the disc players. So 26, so show me the data of how many people in Guilford who would be using this. I really use Bittner, and I walk there all the time, and the horses are there, people are there, families are there, and these things really fly very far, and they're hard to control. And just show me who wants it. And if you want to see what one looks like, just go to Southington where they built one, or to Cranberry Park where they have one, where I've walked there and I've never seen anyone play. So I just, don't go forward with something without data to show me that the users of the town who live here and use these parks would actually play a game that's a fringe game played by 20-some-year-old, young men. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address?
Good evening, I'm Tom Kelly, 22 Alpha Avenue. I use Bittner quite a lot, along with many other people that I see, many dog walkers. And I disagree with this project, and I feel it is going along a little too rapidly. There should be a little more public input available for this. And the whole cutting of the understory bothers me. I mean, this piece of property has ducked the bullet, shall we say. This is in the adjacent property. Over the course of the years, with talks of bridges going through there and then a school addition. And so far, so good. And this is a project that I would like to see put by the wayside. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, with no one else wanting to speak, I'm going to ask the commission to amend the agenda and move new business C, Eagle Scout Project, Kent McCowiak, before correspondence so that he can move on. Everyone agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then we will move. Kent, you can come on up.
Should I stand right here?
Do you?
He can put his project.
Yeah, you can put it in front of me if you want, so that everyone can see.
Okay.
And then you guys can just move around. So.
No, you can't see. That's okay. I knew what it was.
My name is Kent McCowiak. I'm from Troop 471, and I'm asking for approval for my Eagle Scout project. Basically, what I'd be doing is just building stairs up to the announcer's box. Right now, there's currently no stairs. The announcers have to walk through the woods, which is a safety hazard, to get up there, which is pretty dangerous. A little timeline for my project: we would start around June 7th, and have like 2 or 3 work parties to build the stairs at my house, and then we would go on the Bittner site where we would have our 3 and 4 work parties around to build the stairs and railings, and then we would have a separate work party to build a cement flooring for the bottom of the stairs. And our pricing, we estimated the lumber to be around $500. And like the nuts and bolts and screws and things like that to be about $60, and the cement, which we need 4 to 6 bags, which would cost $30. And to fundraise this, since my project is related to soccer, I would be selling concessions at the Soccer Fest, which is a big tournament for Guilford. And I already got approval from the head of that tournament to sell the concessions.
When do you have to have your project completed by?
We have we hope to have it around August, end of August maybe.
And I think you said June 7th, you meant July 7th.
Oh, July 7th, sorry.
I was going to say, you leave school.
July.
I think you better check with your administrators first. July 7th. Okay.
That timing would be good because fall soccer is when it's used the most, like by the high school soccer team, or not the team, but the people who do the announcing and scorekeeping and so on. So, I mean, time-wise, that works well.
And then, do you feel confident that you'll be able to raise the $600 that you need?
Well, we would estimate us raising about like $300, and Mr. Maynard said that if we don't raise all the money, then he would, or the town would provide the rest for us.
Told me you have to come to the commission to ask for that.
Okay.
Yes.
All Does anyone else have any questions for Ken?
Do you have a picture of what it would look like? I can't see that from here. Can you mind bring that over?
Yeah, for sure.
And take a look at it.
This is like a rough sketch of it, and this is where we would be building the stairs.
Oh, okay, so the stairs will go up here?
Yes.
And that's the platform there?
Yes.
Oh, it's that's a gate there?
There's no gate there right now.
Okay, but that's the platform where
It's
people
enclosed.
stand.
Yeah.
Oh, so they gotta go around the back?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, okay, so you'd be building a set of stairs up there, and obviously you'd have to put a gate there.
Yeah.
Okay. Stairs here, here.
You have to worry about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because then you want to prevent people from, you said a gate, because you want to prevent people from sitting on the stairs?
Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is now the scorekeepers or announcers, they got to walk through the woods to get to that platform. There's no other way to get there, and so it's especially a problem if the soccer lights tend to go off before the announcer gets out of there. And he's using a phone or a light or something to find his way through the woods, and I think it's a great idea to wants to do this.
Well, this complements the earlier project of them putting the
Yeah.
cupola over top of the announcer's booth.
So
So
it's
this
another
is,
scout project.
it was another scout
Yeah.
project, so this will be the completion of that situation.
Would anyone like to make the motion to approve Ken's project in the case that if he doesn't raise the 300 that we, or 600 he needs, that we would help him?
Absolutely. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
And anything that you need, you can go through Rick with finding out when you can be there, when you need the money, if you need it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
All right, so we will go back to our regular agenda and look at correspondence. So there was some forwarded to Rick from Tracy Brinkman. Oh, this was you going to Tracy.
There was two Tracy.
Tracy.
In response to her previous. Yeah.
This was the notice to, about Bittner Park,
Yeah.
our walk on the 25th at 5:30. Do you want to take this opportunity to discuss any of that? Or do you want to wait till disc golf?
Any way you want to do it. It's on the agenda.
All right, we'll wait till disc golf.
Okay.
We'll just go through this. And then there's one from Paul Schmidt, the chair of Standing Field Committee, or two, Paul Schmidt again. From Mary Jo. We heard from Mary Jo last meeting in regards to the soccer fields. Her kids play on Rush. Cute note about senior prom. Love reading those. Ouch. And that's it. Any questions on the three that were in the packet? All right. Can we get a motion to review the minutes for the May meeting?
Make a motion that we review the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Does anyone have any questions, changes? Any questions on bills, not this? Yeah. I didn't have anything for this one. Everyone good on the minutes? All right. Make a motion to approve the minutes, the May 7th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 7th minutes.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone want to second that?
Second.
Thank you, Tara. We need a motion to review the approval of the May bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 2018 bills.
We need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have some corrections. Claire,
Okay,
on
they
them.
may be my questions that you're correcting, so
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, there are quite a few, but part of it is Bonnie was away last month, so Ellen put them together, and I think some of these are duplicates from last month. And so I think it's easier just to give you some bottom lines.
Okay.
So on the second page, just above building maintenance, where it says 12,289. I deducted about 4,941 of those bills, because those are duplicates from last month. So that should be 6,601.56. And I can tell you what those changes are if you want. And then, let's see. The next, let's see, probably fourth page. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the top was urban pest control. You see that, where the total was $3,867. There was $722.29. Again, that was a duplicate, so that total is $3,145.02. And then going to the next page, right above fields maintenance. So what this is, it's a total for grounds maintenance. Instead of that $10,271, it's $7,685.92. There's about $2,600 of bills that we already approved last month. The next page is about $1,000, a little over $1,000 reduction there. Again, duplicate. So that total, instead of $25,377, it's $24,320.81. And then right below that, office supplies. There are 2 duplicates there. So instead of $223.98, it's $158.99. So the Parks and Recreation total, instead of that $133 there, is $123,314.40. 314.40. And then so the grand total in the last page, instead of that 136, it's 126,704.63. So that would be the amount to approve. Again, the reason for this is I'm not sure why they ended up in here twice, but some of them, Ellen had put the report together the last month, and somehow Bonnie didn't get that info, and she added them in this month.
Okay, so like one of my questions on the first page was the Seaside at Jacobs Irrigation, then Seaside Jacobs, and then Seaside again. So it's 193, 120, and 45. Do we have multiple gauges down there?
We have 2. Yeah, one is irrigation, and we didn't use irrigation during that period of time, but I think it was a catch up from the fall probably.
Okay. I think we did.
Yeah, because it said the date was December 8th through March 29th. We were not irrigating anything anywhere during that time. So yeah, there's one that's irrigation, the other one is domestic water for like the drinking fountains, showers, bathroom facilities.
Okay.
2 different meters.
And then on the second page, for Eversource, there was $747 for 595 New England Road, and then 605 New England Road, 351. Are those supposed to be there, or are they?
747. That's one I took out. We approved that last month. That's the fitness center. The 605 is the tennis courts.
Okay.
2 different places.
Tennis courts. And then
I also took out the Southern Connecticut Gas on that same page, the 1,737. That was approved last month.
And then under ground maintenance,
Yeah.
and we may have talked about this in the past, maybe last summer, the portaloos, why do we pay for the marinas? Don't they have their own commission?
Yeah, we don't. I don't know why that shouldn't be there. They're lumped together as it's probably 10 of them. Chaffinch, Lee, Adams. We have them in 10 or 12 locations. We don't pay for the marina.
Okay.
I will double check that though and make sure. I'll check on it.
And the same holds true, I guess, for, is that the cans, or is that because it's done twice? There's 2.
Right.
Or those one's not trash, no.
The Concans is all portlets.
All the same, yep.
Yeah. So let me double check and make sure we're not covering the marina. That's a good question.
And then on the last page, sign swing. The second Eversource, it says kiosk. Is that just in the wrong place? Because I don't think there is a kiosk there, but I could be wrong.
The kiosk up on top there?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
7012.
Yeah, that's here. That's the kiosk here.
All right, so it
It's
should
above
be in
it.
the
It's
science
not with
wing.
the science wing. It's up above it.
The header's on the page before it says kiosk.
Yeah. It's just
It
got
says Science Wing, Connecticut Water, Eversource, Eversource.
Goes in
Oh, I see, okay.
So it's on the last page, under Science Wing. It goes Connecticut
Oh,
Water,
right.
Eversource, Eversource. The second Eversource is kiosk.
So it's here twice.
Oh.
Once here, once
Right.
here.
You're right. Yep, so it'd be $70.12 less. And it is the same month according to this. Right, yes, it is. Okay,
Yes, it
that's
is.
a good catch. So the total would be 70, 12 less. I think that makes it 126, 634, 51. Anybody else wanna check
51,
that?
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
126.
Good catch on that one, Claire.
64.
Anyone else have any questions on the bills?
Yeah.
Rick, what's the, on the field maintenance, $3,900? What's that renovation and maintenance what's
Oh,
that?
that was a company that we brought in to contract for deep tying aeration. It's actually a slit aeration they do.
Oh, you're talking about that, okay.
We actually contracted them back in the fall, but it got too late in the season. We got snow early and whatever, and they couldn't do it. So we finally got it done last month.
What fields they do for that?
They did the high school baseball field, the new sod field at the high school, and Adams soccer and baseball outfield.
Yeah.
And that's a machine we're looking to buy. It's in our 5-year plan to buy one of those machines, then we can do it ourselves.
That gets done yearly.
This is the first time we've ever had that company. It should be done yearly, but we don't. We just don't usually have the budget to do it. But I think once we get the machine, we can do it ourselves a couple times a year. It makes a big difference for aeration to get the air down into the roots and soil compaction and all that.
Rick, I see a lot of bills here, like for the portable toilets. Do you think it'd be be cost effective long term to put like permanent bathrooms like they have down at Jacobs Beach? What do you think? I mean, off the top of your head.
Well, I don't think every place we could. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of these are on athletic fields or Chaffinch Island.
There's no plumbing to them.
Yeah.
To the locations
right,
where,
yeah.
where they would be. You would have to have a.
So there's no places where the portable toilets are where it'd be feasible to put permanent bathrooms in.
There's no water in
Yeah,
those places. Yeah.
All set? Do we have a motion to approve the May minutes for $126,634.51?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 2018 bills in the amount of $126,634.51.
I second it.
All right. Department reports. Start with Rick's.
Yeah, and I'm going to give some reports for Tony and Alan. Tony was away on vacation, so he wasn't able to do it last week. But let's see, mine, a couple I'll just highlight, and you have questions, anything, certainly ask. Number 7, we removed the benthic blankets from the Lake Quannapock beach area, under the water there for the weed control, and it's been very effective every year that we've been doing this our 3rd year, I think, now. And Greg Bugby, I think, will check it in the fall and see how it's looking, and if we don't need to, we might be able to skip a year, because it's kind of labor intensive to do it, but it works. And there are 25 that we put down, and they really do help smother those weeds in a non-chemical way. And then I just want to mention, I was at the skate park on a Thursday. There was a meeting with the Wetlands Commission and Alex Rosello, who's doing an Eagle Scout project on the bridge that you approved. And so the Wetlands Commission approved it on site. So I was there, and afterwards I just stopped at the skate park, and there were 12 people there at about 6:45. 12 people skating, skateboarding, and there was there were a couple mothers. And I asked if they come there often, and they said they do, and there's always kids up there skateboarding. So it's good to know, because we can't get there all the time and see how things are going and how much use it's getting. But there were 12 on that night.
Well, I just left there because I was playing pickleball, and it was being used by young and old. You want to put it. So it's getting used.
Yeah.
I was there about 6 weeks ago, and there was some chipping in the paint. Has that been?
Yeah, no, they're gonna fix that, yeah.
It's gonna fix that?
Yeah, they have to do that. It's not gonna cost us anything.
Okay.
The only else I'll mention, the fireworks, number 14. I went to the Board of Selectmen meeting this morning, and they approved Atlas Pyrotechnics, the same company that's been doing it for the last, this will be our 19th year. And we had solicited quotes from 4 companies. 2 actually gave us quotes, and the low quote was Atlas. And if any of you ever gone to the fireworks, the show is usually pretty good. They do a good job, so it's the same price.
Same one that did it last year?
Same company, yeah.
Yeah, last year was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, the owner of the company was here last year, and he did the fire, and he had 15 guys he was training. So he did a good job.
What's the date of that again?
July 7th.
July 7th.
Rain date is the 8th.
Thank you.
And a reminder, we started with, because this, I think our next commission meeting is probably after the fireworks. No, it might be right before. July 2nd, probably. So we can mention it again, but it's Saturday the 7th. Starts with a community picnic on the green at 4 o'clock with the community band. It's usually about 120 piece band. That I'm always amazed that Mark Gahn, the band director at high school, in 4 rehearsals, he gets them all together and they put on an hour-and-a-half concert with 4 rehearsals, and it's so good. And with that, we always have the inflatables and climbing wall and stuff for the kids on the green too.
How's I've driven by it a couple times. Not planes. The Eagle Scout project.
Not finished.
Okay.
He was working on it and ran out of stone. He ordered a stone that everyone kind of told him that's how much he probably needs. And so they're supposed to keep it 3 inches from the top with the 2-inch stone, and then go with 3/4 process for the last 3 inches. But they kind of went right to the top of the 3-inch. So I said, if you can get the grader guy to come back, it was a volunteer that did that for him, and spread it a little more, you'll get farther. They kind of piled it up a little too high. I think he said I don't remember the date, but there's another date in June. He was going to have another work party to go and finish it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
There's
I
a big-
just left there, so.
Yeah.
There's a big pile of dirt.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Public Works is going to help us get that out of there. They just haven't had a chance to get in there and get it yet.
It looks like it'll probably add 6 spots.
I think 8. Yeah.
Anyone else have
And I imagine
anything?
we'll address the turf at an unfinished.
Yeah.
I had to bring that up.
Awesome. Summer training staff, you have everyone in, hired, and ready to go?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Can't wait to harass them at Lake Winnipeg.
Yeah,
Looking
well, the
forward to
beaches
it.
are open. Actually, I want to mention that because there was some confusion on Saturday. The beaches are only open weekends now until school's out. So June 23rd, I think if that's a Saturday, that's when they open full time. But both beaches are only open noon to 5 on Saturday and Sundays. And I think there was some misunderstanding about that. There was somebody that went to Quantipoc on Saturday morning to swim, and it was closed, locked up, no lifeguards, and they said they heard the reason it was closed is because it was the senior prom the night before, and we were letting the lifeguards sleep in, and that wasn't the case.
I should know, but I had a similar thing on Memorial Day weekend because the main flyer just listed the regular summer hours. It did not identify like Memorial Day or summer, so I actually brought my kids there at 5 and it was closed and it was a bummer. But when I reread the post on the Facebook page, in the paragraph it said it, but not on the flyer. So
Ellen put that on Facebook,
you know.
and I told them we got to make sure next year in the brochure
gotta be noted.
we got to have that
Yeah.
early season hours listed correctly. Yeah, we don't want people to be confused about it. I mean, it's just it was a mistake. It should have been in there.
Yeah.
Anything else for Rick's report? You're going to talk for Tony?
Yeah, so Tony, I'll just highlight a couple things. Of course, this time of year, the guys are mowing and mowing and mowing. And as has been happening all spring, we just get rainy days like today, where they couldn't do any mowing because even once it stopped, the fields they were too wet. And if they mow when it's wet, at least big clumps, then the clumps stay on the ground, and the clumps can kill the grass underneath. But the other thing is getting Little League fields ready for their games. I actually went to Adams on Friday because we had rain on Friday. The guys got the infield looked great. The grass was mowed. They couldn't mow the outfield because by the time the rain stopped, they weren't going to be able to get it done. So I sent an email to the Little League representatives and let them know that grass is a little higher, but it wasn't real high. It was maybe 2.5, maybe 3 inches. It wasn't bad. The infield was great. No puddles on the infield, and so I just wanted to let them know that you can play, but the grass is a little bit higher in the outfield. So I want to make sure they were aware of that. So mowing, they've been setting up the showmobile for various events. The Memorial Day. There's an event, Ethan Song race on Saturday. We'll have the showmobile is going to be there for that, and so it's part of what these guys have to do is haul that showmobile around and get it leveled and ready to be set up. And then we started the beach cleaning a couple weeks ago at Jacobs. We did Daniel Avenue Beach once. We can only do it once really between May 10th and July 15th because of the horseshoe crabs. And so we can't go below the high tide line. And at Jacobs, we can't go below the high tide line until after July 15th. And so it's unfortunate for the horseshoe crabs, but unfortunate for the swimmers because that's where the worst shell situation is, below high tide line, and we can't go in there till after July 15th. But we are starting, have started, up to the high tide line, so the entire beach gets groomed. I was there twice on Saturday, and there were just people commenting how beautiful it looks, after that kind of fresh look. I kind of say it's like, when you get that first snowfall, how beautiful it looks in your front yard, and then somebody walks in it, it's like, they wrecked it, they put footprints in the snow. That's how the beach looks. You don't want to step on it because it looks so nice after they groom it. So we've been doing that too. So those are some of the, typical special things that Tony and guys have to do this time of year.
I thought about what the feasibility or I don't know whether it would be possible to look at contracting additional mowers to keep up. So I know the weather obviously plays, that's first and foremost, but would it be at times helpful to have an additional crew? I don't know the answer to this. I'm just asking or if it's even feasible.
I think it's
thinking for the busy season.
Yeah.
With all the sports teams, looking for fields.
I think the issue is the weather. Getting on the field, and if we can't get on it, a contractor wouldn't have a big mower like we have anyway.
Same issue. Yeah.
They wouldn't have a 16-footer. I don't think there are any contractors that have mowers that big, not around here anyway. And they'd be the smaller mowers. And we have those. I mean, if we have to, we can use the smaller mowers, and we do in some cases, but it takes so much longer to get the field done. And the issue is, and we have had guys stay later some days to get it done and pay them the overtime. Some people have said, well, why don't you bring a guy in like on Saturday and do it? But that's when the fields are used the most. Mm-hmm. How do you do it? Everybody's on there. You can't mow during that. So we have to do it during the week when kids are not on the fields. I mean, it's a valid question. I think they would have the same issue we have, though. Mm-hmm. We have 2 big mowers. We've got 3, 4 maybe of the 6-foot mowers. We have a 4-foot walk behind mower with a little sulky on it. So we have all the equipment to do it. It's just.
I didn't know if it was more of at times a resource because there's obviously so much to mow, and with the weather, it has been growing crazy. Like in our yards, I'm sure it's dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, the other problem is that guys have to use their vacation time up by June 30th, and if they haven't taken a lot during the year, now guys are coming and going. Yeah. And I can't tell them, sorry, you can't take a vacation. You got to mow because they lose it. They have to take it. So, and they should take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's a good question.
All right. Ellen, Recreation Supervisor.
Yeah, I think the highlight there is the Camp and Aquatics staff that she and Connor and Max have hired everybody. They had the Camp and Aquatics staff training, I think about a week or so ago. As I mentioned, beaches are open now, and camp staff are ready to go, and we'll be ready to go on June 25th. June 25th. The other thing that Ellen implemented with the technology thing that I think Mark was working with her on is You can pay by credit card at the beaches now. And to my knowledge, it's working okay. The first day at Jacobs Beach, the card reader, the battery didn't hold the charge very long. And so it ran out of power like in the first hour. And there's no place to plug it in by the kiosk there, and so they had to go plug it back in, and people just had to, pay cash for a little while. And they charged up, and they brought it back, and it worked better on Sunday and Monday, Memorial Day. Sunday we were Sunday we were closed. It was raining. Memorial Day, it worked okay. So
we need solar power.
yeah, I think you're right. Down there we have it, except
Yes.
this spring we may not. It's been so cloudy.
All right. Terry Buckley, senior report. As always, tons going on.
It's like so much going on. Great.
I heard and saw lots of pictures of the senior prom, so that was a big hit.
It was, yeah. Wednesday's a strawberry social at Jacobs. I think there were 101 people signed up so far for that. Picnic at the beach, entertainment there. On June 22nd, there's a summer solstice picnic. That is actually here. It's an indoor barbecue. I think a couple of years, or at least 1 year, they had it at the beach, but this year it's going to be here. Those are a couple of things coming up. You can see the rest of our list there. And Terry and I also went to the Board of Selectmen meeting this morning, and she pretty much handled the presentation. They want an update on the status of the grant for the bus. If you remember, we have $16,000 in our capital budget to purchase the new buses for the seniors. The total cost is, I don't have the exact number, it's somewhere around $54,000 to $60,000, but our cost is only like $16,000. And so it's great to have that grant available for us. And so they want an update of where we are with it, and we had to put a purchase order in to hold that money, because we're not going to get the bus till the fall, but it's in this year's money, so we had to issue a purchase order to hold the money so we have it whenever the bus comes in the fall. So she gave an update on that today.
Great. Wow, big increase in meals served for April.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
For both Meals on Wheels and in this community center here.
Any questions about Terry's report? All right, moving on to report of commission staff representatives to commissions, starting with Standing Field Committee. John?
Okay. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the last Standing Field Committee when they did the final draft for the field use project. It's in draft stage right now, so it's still a work in progress, so it's not ready to be finalized, to be brought before the board. But it is a little bit more inclusive and intensive than the single page that we have right now. So it's going to be a little bit more, how should I say, defined as to what the requirements and the cost are going to be, and the identification as who the participants and how they're going to be charged.
Oh, so that's the Standing Field use policy and fees?
That's correct.
Okay, the
That's
field
correct.
use policy.
But I did read the summary that got to me from John Hess and also from Paul Schmidt. The other thing with regard to Standing Fields is that they did get the final report from their consultant. It was 62 pages long. I've gotten through about half of it right now.
For the turf field?
For the turf
He's
field.
not exaggerating, it is.
I mean, I looked at it on my usually I print these things out so I can read them at my leisure. I could not print this thing out. It was just too large of a, especially with all the photographs that they had in there. In summary, there's still some questions as to who's going to be ultimately responsible for the repair of this facility. So it's again, it's work in progress right now. They have the town's consultant has submitted his draft. That's the 62-page. And then now we're waiting for the other 4 participants to respond to it in order to come to a resolution. So it has not been resolved as of yet. It probably will not be resolved in time for fall sports.
Well, the goals are supposed to be, the directive they have to have it done by August 15th.
Yeah.
That's the directive.
But it seemed kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, tenuous that they would get that close. And so, but it's still being worked upon by not only our town council, but also by the, Paul Schmidt has taken the responsibility of trying to get this done as rapidly as possible. I did take a field trip to go visit one of the other fields that was affected by this, and their problems, this was up in Holyoke High School, their problems were different than ours. Ours ripped in down the center in the field and also along the perimeter. Theirs just pulled away from their anchors. And so the center of their field remained intact. It's just that they had to go back and reattach it to the anchors. And that caused some additional problems. Now, which every town is different as how they manage their projects. This is not a public, this project was managed by the Public Works. So Public Works up in Holyoke is the lead in trying to get this resolved. It wasn't the athletic department or Parks and Recreation department. And so I've also been over to one of the Bristol schools, and the same thing. It is the that was pulling away from the anchors, where they were trying to get the resolution from the same company as they're dealing with ours. So ours is unique,
Awesome.
unfortunately.
Just like the town of Guilford.
Just like the town of Guilford.
Can I just add a couple things to
Yeah,
that,
I
too?
was going to say the other note I had on here is we had talked about Bittner A, the infield at Bittner A.
Yeah, we're going to, we talked about redoing that infield in the fall, and I sent a note to the president of Little League that if they can shut it down in the fall, it'll help us be able to get that done. And it's a question of, do we reseed the infield or do we take it out and sod it? I think sod would be the way to go, probably. If we seed it, it would definitely be helpful not to have that field in use at all in the fall. Give time for the seed to really, germinate. If we sod it, I think I told them that they could probably use it till early October, and then if we can get on there in October, we can rip out the existing infield grass and then buy new sod and put it in there. We'll have to see how that goes. Depending on what their needs are, if they need to use it, then we'll have to push it back a little bit. But, you can sod up until November. You just don't know, like this year, it got cold pretty fast.
Right.
And ideally, October is a good time to do it. So we're just, wait to hear back from Little League. They probably don't know yet because they still, I'm sure they're going through registration for the fall. But once they know, and we know, then we can make that plan to attack that field.
Yeah, Little League season is ending pretty much by the end of school. And then they will go into their summer program,
Right.
and then they'll go into a fall program. My personal belief is that it would be better just to take that field out and just let us get it to where we wanted to get it. Mm-hmm. And if they have to move to another field, then I'm sorry, that's probably the best thing for the long term, for 2019 and beyond, would be to allow us to get that field in good condition now rather than use a patchwork system that may or may not germinate with the proper conditions. When you're gambling with the weather as to whether or not we're going to get something accomplished in time for the next season, we've been burned in the past by that.
Which is Field A, the one behind the playground, so to speak?
No, the top one behind the softball field.
The one that has the fence around it.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that has the
Right,
home
the
run
one in
fence.
the top corner behind the softball.
Mm-hmm.
I just played on that one.
Way back in the corner?
All the way in the top corner, beyond the adult field, beyond the soccer
Okay.
field.
Okay.
If worst comes to worst, the adult field up at Bittner Park is not being used for any programs as you speak. And it is possible that you can play baseball on that field because you have 60-foot bases that can be laid out, and you can bring in a portable mound that they've done in other fields. It's just that you won't be playing on a grass infield, you'll be playing on a dirt infield. Just like girls play on softball on a dirt infield. That I think would be a perfect fallback position, would be to let them play on that adult field and let the Little League field repair itself.
They're using it to some extent this spring from practices. I think one of the, it's a 50-70 field that they're using it for. And so, yeah, they have some experience using it. And there was a group that used it last year, too. Yeah, it's too bad we don't have a men's softball league anymore, even the co-ed league that we had for a couple of years. It's just teams haven't signed up. So this year's not happening.
I mean, there's another park that could be used, which is in fallow condition right now, which is Chittenden Park. That park right now has been pretty much dedicated for youth soccer of the 11s and 12 ages. But there is a backstop there. There is a field there. It just needs to be groomed out. And again, a portable mound can be brought in. But again, you'll be playing on a dirt infield as compared to a grass infield.
Well, there's options.
There are options that are available.
Yep.
So we're just not locked into having to have only Bittner A available for baseball.
Did you have anything else to add to that one, Rick?
I have a little more on the synthetic turf. You want to wait until we get to on the agenda there? Okay.
Green Committee?
We had met last week. The only thing that's really, I mean, there's things to report, but I think the interesting thing is there's a group called Free Keys, piano keys. And so what they requested and the Green Committee unanimously approved is there'd be a piano sitting on the green from the end of June until September. And the intent is that anybody who wants to just come and play the piano sporadically, improvise, just come and play the piano. It's going to be there. They're doing this in Branford. I think it's agreeing to have it somewhere in Madison, and so they wanted to come and have it in Guilford too. And the Green Committee approved that there would be a small tent over it. It's got to be protected from the elements to some extent. But these are pianos that were most likely going to get thrown out. Somebody just didn't want it anymore, and so I don't want to say they don't care if it gets damaged. I don't really mean that, but it's not a piano that. It's a piano somebody didn't want, and it would go on the green. If people want to, they encourage people if they want to paint it, and be creative with it. And then, if Claire was a secret piano player, she goes out there with her kids, starts playing the Rhapsody in Blue or something, Mozart or something. That's the idea. It's just going to be there, and for anybody who wants to just play it, it's just to improvise and have just.
Not all hours of the evening, right? I'm worrying about neighbors.
Probably, and I think the area we were suggesting that it go on is the corner down by Pages and Cilantro's, because it's cobblestone.
Yeah.
So it's not on the grass. The guys don't have to worry about mowing around it, weed whacking it. And I think the spot is big enough, and that's where a lot of the activity around the green is anyway.
Right.
And so the green, I still got to go to the Board of Selectmen because they approve anything that happens on the green. But interesting concept. I think it's a kind of neat idea.
What was the name of the organization?
Didn't they do that?
Three keys.
Free.
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 Like free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing you'd get out of me is Yankee Doodle. It's the only thing I know how to play.
Chopsticks?
Nope, can't even do that. Yep. Is that it for Green Committee?
That's it.
All right. Land acquisition is me. I have nothing to report. There is a meeting this Thursday, so next month hopefully I'll have something to share with you. Mark, technology.
I don't have anything to report this month either. As Rick mentioned, the payment system is in use, so I need to tie up with Terry though. I've been neglectful over the past few weeks.
Yeah,
this is my fourth quarter, so it's a little kooky.
Yeah, I saw that Ellen had switched over some of or is working on switching over the web page. So she was updating for the mobile, which is awesome. So for anyone that doesn't know, we will be mobile friendly very soon. Community Center 25th anniversary. Nothing to report on that yet. Community Center improvements. That's usually Rose, but I know that quotes for the carpet came in.
Yeah, and I think we have later on unfinished business and
okay.
And then Todd is working on this. We have to get the painting the exterior of the building. Again, we have money in this year's budget, so we got to lock in that purchase order to hold that money over for next sometime in the summer. I think that's what we want. I think we want to get the roof done first, which makes sense, I think.
Right.
We get the roof done, and then the painting, and then the carpet would be sometime in that area too. We don't want to do the carpet before the roof. If the guys happen to be up there and they're tar on their feet and they're walking in and use the restroom or something, or it just makes more sense to wait and do that later on. We'll go from the roof down.
All right, unfinished business, Jacob's Beach platform. Suzanne is the new chair of that one, but I did see that it was staked off and that they have started.
It's been graded. They actually have many of the diamond piers. Those are the hubs that hold the boards together to get kind of bolted down on top of them. I don't know if they're all in.
There was a great deal of activity prior to this week. I was down there on Sunday. The grader was there, and they had it looked like they had all the I don't want to use the studs. What do you do when you put in footings?
Yeah, those are the diamond piers. They're called. Yeah.
Footings were in the ground. Were in the ground.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Would it be possible, I know it's already underway, but would it be possible to have a picture either put on our website of what is actually going there or down there?
I took pictures of this before the diamond piers were in, but I put these in the packet so you can just see what they've dug out and so on. And this one is the one that's the existing boardwalk, looking from sort of the playground toward the bathhouse. So you get an idea of that. And then I have a picture of the opposite direction looking toward the playground. I asked Will Thompson if he could do that, get like a rendition of it to put on the fence down there. Because people ask what it is. And I made sure the lifeguards and gate guards are aware of it. I've been down there fairly, I wouldn't say often, but I've been there several times last weekend and the weekend before. And I just was talking with people on the beach and say, hey, are you aware of what we're doing over there? And, we found some dinosaur bones and we're digging a little deeper.
Do we have an artist rendition of what?
That's what we're just talking about. I'm trying to get that.
You can just hand them out there or put them under windshields.
We have so many new people to town, or people that may not have been involved or aware when this whole went through. So there are a lot of questions of, are we destroying the beach? Are we adding more playground? And just to give them an idea that this was approved many moons ago. This is the last phase.
Right.
That this isn't something we just pushed through. This has been in the plan.
Yeah. So Will's aware of that, and then we thought we'd put it like on that fence that's right there and have something posted on there. And, project, Parks and Rec Commission, Board of Selectmen, and here's what it is. And he certainly has a blueprint of what it's going to look like. So I have a kind of a color version of when it was first approved, 5 or 6 years ago. But it's scaled down. It's not. That one has the tent, the shade structure over and stuff. So I don't have what this is going to look like. So I don't want to put that up because it's not what this is. It's a little bit different, a little smaller, and not with the tent. So Will said he would come up with something and get it out there. So I'll just give him a
Even
reminder.
if it just goes on the town site connected to us, if he can't put something out there without costing a ton of money, because we don't need to add cost. Unfinished business B, disc golf course. So we have the June 25th walk, which is open to the public at 5:30. That is to show an example of a fairway and to walk the proposed course. Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, and I think the reason that we are doing this, and we're not jumping ahead, the reason we're doing this is so people can see what we're doing there. That's exactly why we're doing it, to give public information of what it's going to look like, because people are concerned that the canopy is going to change, and I think they're going to see that there's no change in the canopy, there are no big trees coming down. It was posted by our town tree warden for 10 days, which by law he has to do. Our plan is to do some work as soon as we can, maybe tomorrow. If it's raining and the guys can't mow, they're going to go up, and we're talking about mostly seedlings and trees this big and maybe a few a little bit bigger, but it'll create an image of what the fairway will look like, and we want people to be able to see what that would look like before we go any farther. And then I don't know if we want to do it tonight, but at some point we have to pick a date to have a public information session. That one is more of people who want to see what it's going to look like, and then we'll try to get them through as much as we can. I don't know if we're going to walk the whole it'd take an hour probably to walk all of it. It depends how many people come to that gathering on June 25th. But that's why the copy of what I gave you, I sent to Tracy Brinkman to get it on the town's Facebook page so people are aware that we're doing this. We didn't want people to see the ribbons and signs and, oh, they're moving ahead without any approvals. So we want to inform people what we were doing and why we're doing it. And then, we'll have the public information session separate from that, I think. And then after that, depending on input from everybody, we'll go to planning and zoning and wetlands. We're reversing the way we worked at this with Peddler's Park. Peddler's, we had all the approvals from everybody. Then we had the public hearing, and we went 6 months, and then it got dropped. So we want to know up front that let's find out, are we doing this or are we not doing it? So we want to give the public an opportunity to see what it's going to look like. And I think it'll clear concern that many people have that it's clear cut like a fairway of a golf course. I think you're going to see it's not. And they also get an idea, where is it in relation to the trails. We're trying to get the final map. We don't have a final map yet because a couple of them are being moved after there were at least 2 fairways that were going to be close to the wetlands area. And I was concerned that they were going to be too close. And so our designer, Craig Smolin, and I, and Kevin McGee, the environmental planner, we went out there, we walked those areas, and Kevin did say, those are probably going to be too close. They probably wouldn't get approved, those areas, those fairways. So Craig has to redesign where those are going to be, move them farther away from the wetlands. Then we'll get, I hope, a more final sort of map. We'll get a big map instead of just something on a 8.5 sheet of paper. And that we'll make available to people to see. We don't have it yet, and once we have it, we'll make it public. But meanwhile, we've gone ahead with fundraising. We have several businesses in the Youth Advisory Group, which is part of the Guilford Foundation. We've raised $4,500 so far, which is more than a third of what we need to build it. I'm going to the Rotary Club on Thursday. I'm asking them for $2,500. If they agree to that, we'll be at $7,000, which is, that's more than half of what it's going to cost to build this.
I have 2 businesses that have agreed that I've gone to.
Oh,
separately.
fantastic.
So.
For $500 each?
Yep.
Excellent. So right there, we're close to $8,000. And I keep emphasizing that this is about the least expensive recreational amenity that I can imagine. And I'm not kidding when I say this is absolute truth, that if we put in a swing set and a slide, that's $8,000. So for $12,000, we can get an 18-hole disc golf course that will be enjoyed by many Guilford residents and people from out of Guilford, no question about it. I'm sure the people who hike there are not all from Guilford. I'm 100% sure of that. And it's something that will be built environmentally sound, I think, and used by. I'm sure that it's going to be very popular, used by a lot of people in town here. So, but we still have some approvals to have to go through. But the main thing is we want people in the community to be able to see what it's going to look like. So we're doing one sample. We'll put a basket up there. We'll have some discs for people to be able to try it. At our Summer Sizzler on June 16th, we're going to have some baskets down there and some discs so people can get a chance to try that. But we know that from research that the biggest demographic, as you had said, are probably 18 to 35. That's probably the biggest demographic. But when we did that tournament up at Guilford Lakes Golf Course, we had 7, 8-year-old kids, seniors in their 70s, families. And this is I think, a very family-friendly sport.
Well, at our last go-around, our hearing, we had 471. It was 1 or 2 of the Boy Scouts troops in Guilford that were very much in support of it and played all the time at camp. So they are not in that demographics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep coming back to the fact 2 years, that's more than 2 years, 5, 6 years ago, when it was suggested a sport for the seniors was an up and growing sport, was pickleball. And so we started with 4 people. I remember that summer it was 4 people. And now over the years after it's been introduced in the area, it hadn't been in the area, last year we had over 500 participants. So I think once people understand what disc golf is and the activity and the family activities together, and the town needs some activities for the 30-year-olds. We focus on the little kids, we focus on the seniors. For this group of people that would use it.
Yeah, the thing is, when I walked up there with Rick and the designer, I mean, as far as safety goes, there's, the way the lanes are, whatever you call it, but they're it's not
away from the
they're away
walking
from they're away from the trails. It's not going to be a safety issue at all. The way it's designed.
And there was two thoughts about two areas of the trails. It wasn't that we were closing trails. It was we were just going to try to reroute them if needed.
There's probably one that would have to be rerouted. It'll still be the same direction, it's just moving it a little bit. And the volunteers will do that. I think there were one or two spurs that that Craig has asked, can we possibly close, because it is closer to but there's a trail here, and there's one here, and they go to the same place. And so he was just suggesting, well, let's keep this one. Can we close this one that goes around this side over here? So, I mean, that's something the commission has to make that decision if you want to do that. But his recommendation was, or suggestion, or request, is that can we close those two little, I call them little spurs, or maybe 50 yards. It's not a big trail. Bittner is a good hiking place, and I don't want to negate the importance of the trails to people, but I think the trails are still going to be there. People are still going to be able to hike. But even if they, again, I want to emphasize, there's no reason to close the trails down. There's no place else we can build this golf course. There's 30 miles of trails in Westwoods. East River Preserve, the town spent millions of dollars, and you can only hike there. You can't do any active recreation there. And I don't want to say only. I love the place. I cross-country ski there a lot in the winter whenever we have snow. That's where I go. Braemore property, Timberlands. There are a lot of places for hiking in town. We cannot build a disc golf course in any of those places. They're not under our jurisdiction. Bittner Park is. And again, I don't think there's any reason that we need to close trails. And I don't see any conflict with people hiking and disc golf at the same time. I've just talked to people and my peers and many other communities who have both, and they said, we have both going on at the same time. There's no reason not to. So I'm convinced it's a good idea, and I don't think I'm going to change my stance on that. But it's not my decision, it's the commission's.
Do we want Rose to be here before we set the date for the hearing? Have the walk through in public view on the 25th, and then come back in July with a date?
Yeah, I think we should try to do it in July, because we'd like to, if we're going to do it, we
can set it right now, it's fine.
Because we still have to go through Planning and Wetlands Commission and Planning and Zoning. And I think that we'd like to get that all, it'd be nice if it can all be done by, if we're going to go forward, just get it all done by August and start working on it in September.
Do we want to say July 23rd? It's a Monday. That gives you 1, 2, 3 weeks after the walk to get information out to the public, the plan completed.
I think it's reasonable.
Does that work for everyone here? July 23rd is Monday. We'll just have to check with Bonnie and Ellen about the room.
Yeah, I can check that tomorrow.
So tentatively.
That would be the same date as Standing Fields, just to let you know.
Yeah. Do you want to do a Tuesday then, Rick?
Let's see what's available.
All right. So we're tentatively looking at having our public information session July 23rd or 24th. And that's for disc golf.
Is it 23rd to 4th week or 3rd week of July?
It's the 4th.
It's
4th. And it is a public information session. they can speak and ask questions.
Yeah, let me check with Craig Smolin too, because he's going to be the key guy. He's the
Right.
designer, and I think we got to make sure he's available. Check with him.
Unfinished business C, roof replacement, we kind of just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing there, we're just waiting for the architect to approve the shingles. The contractor's been hired, approved by the Board of Selectmen. And so we're just waiting for, we just got the sample shingles in last week. And I think basically Todd and I have to go on the roof and make sure they match what's there. If they're different, then we have to go to the Historic District Commission for approval. But the whole idea with the spec was supposed to match what we have. So
Actually, you don't. I checked with the commission.
we don't have to go to them, even if it's a different color or a different look? Oh, okay.
They just would like and I told Steve Nerdoff this, they would like a spec sheet on the shingle and what the final color is going to be.
Okay.
Just for their file.
All right. Because we're going to try to match, but it's hard. You know, these have been out here for 25 years, so they, you know, it's not going to look exactly the same. They look faded and whatever. So, okay, well, that's good to know. Because I thought Steve told Todd today that we had to go to Historic District. And
Yeah, no, I
okay.
talked to him last Friday, and then I asked the commission.
Okay.
And they said they just, like details of what the final shingle's going to be, just to have in their file.
Okay.
So they know what you're doing.
So more of just inform them.
All right, D, synthetic turf damage. We kind of heard a little bit about that during the standing fields.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to it, John really covered a lot of it, is that a couple of the contractors were there last week, and our consultant, and they took up several sections of the field, and more than what meets the eye, more than what you see, where the carpet is separated. Once they pull the carpet up, there are other areas where you can see that there's separation like that of the foam rubber, the styrofoam pads underneath.
So the styrofoam pads themselves are also splitting? Is that what you're saying?
Some are splitting and they moved. There's still some debate about what caused it. The report that John referred to, the 62-page report, that gentleman he's knowledgeable. He was hired by the carpet company, the actual turf company, to come up with a report. Not everybody agrees with it. We've already heard that a couple other players are having disagreement with some of what is said in there. It's very scientific. Even if you do read it, you're not going to understand all of it probably. Because I said, whoa.
This is a good cure for insomnia.
Yeah. So Castle Booze Associates, our consultant, they are going to independently test everything. They're going to test in conditions similar to what happened with the weather in January, where it got cold really, really fast. It froze like almost immediately. I mean, if you remember, it was like 3 degrees out on New Year's Day. Because I remember, because I directed the New Year's Day road race, and it was very cold, about 4 degrees out at race time. So they're going to they took samples of the carpet, samples of the EnviroFill, that's the sand, acrylic-coated sand that's in it, in the grass fibers, and samples of the shock pad, and they're going to bring it to a lab, and they're going to put it in those kinds of conditions, see how they react, and try to determine once for all what caused it. What are they going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again, and how are you going to fix it and make sure it doesn't happen again? So we don't want to go through this again next year or ever again.
Well, once it's fixed, the warranty then will begin.
No, well, that's something we've been battling on that. I brought that up. We had a meeting with all parties, at a table like this in the Quantapug room. Twice we met with everybody. And I brought that up, especially the carpet man, because they're the ones that warranty the carpet. And they said the warranty period will still be the 8 years or whatever. I said, well, wait a minute, we're going to have almost a year without anybody using it. I said, part of the warranty is not just the ultraviolet rays or whatever, sun, it's use. And they really dug in their heels on that one. So that'll be up to our town attorney to fight for that one, and I think he probably will.
And you said August 15th? Was that for this?
That's the date we told they got to have it ready to play on by.
Interesting. Okay.
Rick, did the consultant give you any idea, or like just by visually looking at it, what he thought it was, or give you any hints, or?
No, really. I mean, the guy who wrote that 62-page report, he did take the stuff into a lab, and he did a lot of what our consultant is going to do. But part of the disagreement is, and I don't want to try to get technical because I don't know the technicalities of it, but my understanding is part of the disagreement is that this acrylic-coated sand, I hope I'm not getting this backwards, but it had to do with the permeability of the sand. So I think one party is saying it held the water, and because it held the water, it got heavy, and when the stuff started separating, it couldn't come back. It's supposed to expand and contract a little bit anyway. These pads underneath, but they're saying that part of the theory is that the water wasn't going through the sand enough to get down below and to let it drain away. I think the opposite theory was also there, that too much got through the sand and it got down below and it froze from the bottom up, and that those styrofoam pads became almost like rafts. They got lifted up, and when they got lifted up, it's almost like they heaved and they moved. So these are things that nobody's ever seen this happen before, supposedly. I mean, all the guys who were part of this said, this has never happened. We got these fields all over the country, never seen this before. So it's a mystery, and I said, well, aren't we fortunate? We're going to be the new textbook in Guilford of a problem that occurred and how you're going to fix it. So, we're involved because fields are under Parks and Rec authority now, even though we weren't really part of the project, but we
because this
have to
field
make
came
sure it gets
under
fixed.
the building of the high school.
Yeah.
This was their field, but because it's a field,
It becomes ours.
that building committee doesn't exist anymore,
Right.
and so. And I gotta say, I mean, it's really Paul Schmidt is really doing a lot of the work on this. It's not so much me or our departments. Paul he's an amazing guy. He's an engineer, and so he's kind of on top of it. And as chairman of the field committee, would you agree? He's really spearheading a lot of this.
So, Claire, just for yours, for the public, when the field committee, the building committee for the high school, ceased to terminate, they turned the responsibility over to the next community authority, which would have been us, because we managed the maintenance of the fields on both the park level and on the Board of Education level. So
I just want everyone to be clear that this field was not put in place by Park and Rec. This was a field that was part of the high school, new high school.
This is money that they had left over that they were going to put where they put over in the old parking lot. They put a new grass field over on the side, which had its own issues, but seems to be recovering nicely. But the artificial turf, when it was completed, and everybody did their final inspection back in November, October, when it was finally done?
More than a year ago, because they were on it for a year. Yeah.
So when the final inspection was done, it was ready. Then winter hit, and it just decimated what we had. And
So I would have assumed they had done all their homework prior to having this put down, like with drainage issues or...
You have every
Otherwise, I don't think it would be
entity
done.
blaming the other three entities. So you have four groups that are involved with this, from the manufacturer, the shock pad underneath, the manufacturer of the granular, which again was a big debate as to whether or not it's going to be crumb rubber or siliconized sand, plus the general contractor. And then the general contractor, there's a fifth person involved, the people who installed it. So you have five people, everybody's looking at everybody else,
pointing fingers,
saying that I'm not responsible, he is.
But isn't the general contractor responsible for the people he hired?
That's what I thought.
You would think. But the general contractor is saying that there was substandard material.
And that's not their fault.
That's not their fault. They put it in according to the standards that was established by the manufacturer. So it is. This is worse than an Agatha Christie movie right now. feet.
Great.
This is like the
We
murder of
ended
the
up-
Orient Express. You'll never know who's going to be the final responsible person for this until the very last scene. And we haven't reached that part yet.
They're all high quality, and the company that put it in came with very high recommendations.
Absolutely.
They've done like hundreds, if not, I mean, lots of these fields, and so they're high quality. The quality, the turf is all over the country. It's a good quality turf. The shock pad is all everywhere, and they all came highly recommended. And I think they all want to get this resolved,
Right.
but they're not yet. No one's accepting like, well, yeah, it's
Could have been.
our issue.
Yeah.
We're banking on the fact that we have their reputations in our hand.
Yeah.
That we will be able to rely upon the fact that they don't want their reputation sullied by the fact that Guilford High School is going to broadcast to the world that their thing stinks. There is another.
If they fix it, then they'll even look more. I mean, in my opinion,
Well, there's another
it'll be more positive.
potential problem that had come through with this too, is that normally when you have a field like this, they have a crown in the middle and the water drains off to the sides. This field was sloped in one direction, so all the went off into a drainage area onto one side, rather than on the Kavanaugh field, which is drained on both sides. So there's a question of the weight of the water, the weight of the ice,
Yep.
There's a lot of scientific data that has still been massaged and still hasn't been finalized yet. And so fortunately, we still have our consultant and our legal team working on it. But it is the murder of the Orient Express. I don't know how else to describe it.
Pretty good analogy.
All right, moving on to unfinished business, E, 52 Church Street. As far as I'm aware, besides Park and Rec doing a nice job cleaning it up, the Board of Selectmen has not come to a final decision on how that building is going to be used or how much of the land is going to be parking lot, if it is going to be parking lot. So there's really no updates.
Do we have the ability to park cars on there now?
We park staff. Some of us park in the driveway over there just to free up space. 'Cause there's just times where you need it,
Right.
whether there's a SIL program going on or a preschool activity or something. I mean, every day, cars are parked all around the area where they really shouldn't be parking and on the grass. So we're doing that. We're not parking in the back, but I guess we could eventually, but for now, we're just parking in their sort of little driveway parking lot there. We can get, I think, 4 cars over there. It frees
The
up a
guys
little
have done
bit.
a nice job. It looks nice from the road, cleaned up.
Yeah, the guys cleaned it up. They've been mowing it, put some mulch around the trees, and so at least it looks better than it did before.
Is it? I know this building was designed for the beauty of the exterior, but is it possible that we could remove a couple of the islands that are out there to add some additional parking, or is that just not going to be cost effective? The cost benefit's not going to be there.
Additional islands.
I mean, to remove some of the concrete and grass.
Or to remove them.
Yes.
Possibly.
I know it would destroy some of the aesthetics that we have in the building, but it would
Yeah.
add additional parking spaces.
It could. The problem is the guys need a place to push the snow, and that's part of the reason for those. That's one of the advantages of those islands.
Okay.
When they're pushing snow, they got to put it somewhere,
Right.
and they put it on those islands. And so that's something I talked to Tony about. But if he thinks that he's got enough room to push it other places, then we can look at that.
Okay.
All right, unfinished business, F, field use policy and fees. John, you kind of touched base on that. Tara, do you have anything to add to that?
It's exactly true. We've met twice, the subcommittee, and it's still in progress, but we
Still
have a
working on
draft
it.
that we're all reviewing. So it's moving along, but not there yet.
Moving along, yes.
And we've got to send a reminder email. We have a meeting Thursday night again at 7.
Okay.
This Thursday night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, unfinished business, G, carpet replacement. You kind of touched base on that under
So
improvements.
what I'd like to do, though, Claire, if I can, so what is budgeted is $26,000. I'm sorry, should have brought the, let me see if I can remember the areas we planned on getting done. The hallway up here, that's still original carpet from 25 years ago. The hallway, the main corridor downstairs, the game room. If you go in there, you see the carpet's it's ripping. It's in bad shape. In the offices, same thing. Offices, there are areas where the seams are pulling apart. What happens? You get one that's just a little bit of thread up, and a vacuum cleaner gets that, and it rips it. It just like a zipper, but it doesn't zip back. And Todd is strongly recommending we redo the stairs coming up because they're kind of getting worn. And the new look actually has, I think, a different color on the edge of the step, which would be very advantageous for seniors especially, or anybody whose eyesight is going a little bit. I don't want to just pick on seniors, but anybody.
Pick on me, I don't care. I'm there.
On the edge of the step, it would be a different color, so it's just more visible. So the cost, Todd got quotes from 3 companies. They all have the state contract, so we don't have to bid it. If you have the state contract, you don't have to bid. But there was a range, even though they have state contract, of like from $35,000 to $55,000 for the same thing, pretty much. But there's one company that he was suggesting we go with. It's called BCI. If we do all of it, the cost is about $37,653, including the stairs. $26,000 is in the budget. So we have a choice here of only going with what's in the budget, which means we have to cut things out, or we come up with $10,000 or $11,000 out of the program account because, I think it's justifiable. It does benefit programs. The game room definitely needs to be done. There is some discussion. Rose has been involved with a lot of this because she's the community center sort of liaison with the commission. Be transparently, there's some staff that wanted to go with a vinyl as opposed to carpet. I would have suggested that maybe in the game room, but the pool players really want the carpet. That's who uses it. It's softer. They're standing on their feet. It's warmer. Sound absorption and all that. Same idea in the office. Some thought, how about in the office we go with the vinyl strips, which look very nice. It looks like fake wood basically, but it's vinyl. It's like boards. The look is very, very nice. But again, one of the debates on the other side of it in the office, carpet helps deaden sound. And we put that wall up that never used to be there between the counter and the office for that reason, because of the noise. People in the office couldn't hear because of the noise coming from the hallway in there, and that was to help deaden sound, or even deaden the sound within the office to some extent. People on the phones talking, and it helps absorb it. And so, that can be still open for discussion, I suppose, but we need to decide, do we want to set aside extra money? Because we have to go to the Board of Selectmen. June 18th is the last meeting of this fiscal year. As I was talking about with the painting, we need to tie up a purchase order because it's in this year's money. If we don't do it, we lose that $26,000. So we need to go to them, and so we can do that. But I'd rather go to them and say, "Can you award this to company?" I think it's BCI is the name of the company. They'll have to award the bid to them, and they're either going to award $26,000 or going to award, I'll come up with the actual number. Let's say around $38,000 if we do the other things. So I guess that's the discussion. Do we want to commit some funds from the program account to do all of it, or do we just limit to the $26,000 and then we'd have to cut some things out?
Are you saying that they want to carpet the stairs? Because the stairs
not carpet. It's vinyl, but it's a different type.
Okay.
We
I was
do
going to
it.
ask the same question.
No,
they're
not
not
carpet.
Carpeting the stairs.
No,
Okay.
it is getting worn a little bit, and one of our guys, Terry, does a great job, and he puts I don't think it's a wax, it's a sealer on it. But Todd found out from Todd has met with about 6 different, maybe 8 different vendors here, and most of them have said you shouldn't be sealing that stuff. It makes it more slippery, and I don't think it is slippery. I guess maybe if you have wet feet, it might be, but they said you shouldn't do it. You got to just keep it natural. Terry's been doing it because it looks nice when he does it. It's got a nice shiny look to it, but evidently that's not something you should do. But it is wearing anyway. If you look at the treads on that, it's 25 years old. So just like the carpet, it's been here since the building's been here, and that's about of that extra money. About $5,000 is for those stairs.
Okay, so as a commission, we need to decide whether we want to allot any money from our program fund, which is designed to help our programs, which obviously the rugs.
As a contingency, I think I will make the motion that we should add the additional funds to pay for the additional needs to complete the project and not lose our funds up to 26,000 prior to the end of the fiscal year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're good to go.
Okay, thank you. You're going to make Todd very happy. He's put a lot of time into that.
Well, thank Todd for us
I
because
just have one question,
I've
though.
seen it all.
If they're going to have to close down the stairs, is that going to mean everybody's going to have to use elevator up and down in order
No,
to
or,
get to
or we'll do it on
on a weekend?
yeah, on a Saturday. We're closed on Saturdays in July and August.
Okay.
So we could try to schedule it then.
Okay.
And just have the guys come in. We'll have somebody, I'll come and open it for them or whatever. Todd will open up and,
Okay.
how to get it done during that time.
And again, I'm all about the warranties, so I
Yes,
want
I
to make
was
sure that,
warranties and
I think the
maintenance.
carpet, I
because I mean, this one's lasted this long for the amount of traffic here.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Really, so.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And I just find that things are getting cheaper made, like, things don't seem to be as well made as they were 20 years ago.
Right.
Or last as long. So
this carpet is original right here.
So
too.
I just worry about the
25
warranty
years.
of how many years they're gonna.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, we're going with the carpet tile, the squares, and everybody's recommended that. All the carpet people that
They
Todd
are.
talked with.
We just did an office where I work and we did that and it's amazing.
The
They're amazing.
advantage and
Yeah.
the product now that they have, it's not called Scotch Guard, but
Yeah, right.
it's like that. Where Todd said, if you get a coffee spill on it, it'll come up with water. You don't need shampoo or anything.
And now you
Water
can
will
take
it
out the carpet, like if a carpet tile gets damaged, you can just
Right.
take
Yeah.
that one out and replace.
Right.
It's not like it's.
And that's part of the spec was that they got to
Yeah,
leave
they're great.
a box of them available to us. The plan was to go with, I think, the same color everywhere. It's just simpler. I mean, again, if you want to change that, we can. But that way, you got one box of tiles you can use anywhere.
Yeah.
Just make sure the lot numbers are all the same.
Yeah.
The same color.
Yeah.
That's helpful. All right, moving on to new business A, HVAC upgrades. That was getting the new 5 boxes.
Yeah, and that was approved by the Board of Selectmen. I don't have the exact dollar amount. It was 24,000 and change. I don't have the. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down, but it's somewhere between $24,000 and $25,000. Approved by the Board of Selectmen, coming out of an energy. They have an energy efficiency account. I think is like $200,000 or something for energy savings kind of projects. And so it's coming out of that, not out of our budget. But this is one of the things that was included in the report that when we had the facilities study done by an independent company, Colliers, I think was the company.
Colliers.
One of the things they suggested, in the next 5 years, we should be replacing all the VAV boxes. There are 26 of them. The VAV boxes are in the ceilings. They help control. VAV is variable air volume. They help control the amount of heat or cooling coming into a room. And again, most of them are 25 years old, and they're way past their life. So the 24,000 will replace 5 of them, and I believe the rooms that we're targeting were the Monuckatuck room, the Guilford Whitfield room, probably the rooms that are most used, and the exercise room. And I think the offices, 3 of our offices have been upgraded already, but there's going to be wireless thermostats. So with this, it's 5 new VAVs and 8 new wireless thermostats. And the backbone, as Todd calls it, or the brains of this wireless system will get put in. So when we do the other ones, that'll already be in there. So we don't have to add these, the backbone, as he calls it, or brains for that. That'll be in place. So that's already been approved, but it's just basically to let you know that the Board of Selectmen approved that. It's I don't know if we have the date when they'll start doing it. They probably have to order the materials. The purchase order went out to them, and so it'll be happening sometime in the next couple of months.
New business B, the Ethan Song bench at Chaffinch Island.
Yeah, I don't have any more information. There were a couple of high school students that came to me about 2 weeks ago, and they had asked if a bench could be placed at Chaffinch. I told them they should come to the commission meeting. I'm not sure. Do you know who this gentleman was that was here? I didn't know if that was Mike Song. I don't know.
No.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay. All right. I also told them there's a policy on naming of things in parks. And sorry, I didn't bring the policy, but maybe it's probably in your book there. But
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
generally, you have to have been somehow done volunteer work in a park or something outstanding for the town in some way that helps improve recreation. That's the general guidelines. So, you know, I said, it's an emotional, kind of, it's a big issue, but, you know, I'm not sure Ethan falls into that category. I did suggest some other possible places, or somebody else suggested maybe a plaque on the green. Did you say that, Claire? Yeah, maybe a plaque on the green or something. But I haven't heard anything back. There's a couple of high school girls that asked if they could do it, and I said, it's a great idea. However, you should come to the Parks and Rec Commission. So I told them the date of the meeting when they met with me, and so I guess, you know, they didn't come.
If
So-
you do hear back from them, I would suggest still coming to see us and talking to us about
Yeah.
it, but also to reach out to the Green Committee.
Right, yeah.
Because that is a
Mhm.
public spot that
Right.
the benches are dedicated to, and Ethan did spend more time.
Could I just add something to this? I took a hike over Chaffinch Island, and I saw all the benches that we have there, and I mean they're tastefully done. But if there's one thing I would request is that just the name of the individual. I mean, no inscriptions or platitudes or whatever. It just, to me, it's not. To me, it's not the place. I mean, if you're going to dedicate something, you dedicate an individual. But to have, you know, dedicated songbird lover. I mean, I don't find that as being pertinent to a public park that we have. I know I'm probably going out on a short limb on this one, but it's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, it's usually, like, I'm trying to think on the green, it's like in loving memory of, and then whoever,
Yeah, I think that's how it is.
or
There are a couple-
dedicated to so-and-so.
Yeah.
I did see pictures, speaking of Chaffinch, online with
And Marlene Roses.
Yes,
It's
Marlene.
beautiful. The
Her tree was
that got
planted, her
yeah.
lilac tree was planted over the weekend.
Oh, okay, because, yeah, they never got in touch with me,
Beautiful.
so I didn't know they did
Yeah.
it. Okay.
So.
Oh, did they put it in a good spot? Because they were supposed to meet with me to
Oh.
pick a spot, but
It-
I'll have to go look.
It was,
I'm glad they did, because I never heard anything back from them after our
Yeah.
meeting.
so.
Okay.
Didn't they have to go through Tony, though?
They might have gone through Kevin, maybe. They talked to
Oh,
Kevin.
okay.
I don't know. Maybe. But
Because I know that was our request, that they checked to make sure that the tree was appropriate for.
Right.
They don't survive.
Now,
and
can
that-
Right,
plaques,
yeah.
Can plaques be put on a tree? Like this memorial tree, is there anything that can be put there as to who it was planted in whoever's memory? I just know because I know that with the Song family, I think that was one of Ethan's favorite places was Chaffinch. So my thought is too, if the girls that came are not aware of the policies with the bench, you know, maybe a tree also. That's why I just wondered if there were.
But a tree still has to fall under a bench or anything that's dedicated through us still has to fall under that policy.
I think
Correct?
it does, yeah. I think so.
We'll have
It's
to go
gotta
back
be-
and look
Okay.
at that. And
Yeah.
the reason she
Okay.
was allowed to is the amount
Gotcha.
that she gave back to the town.
I checked with a landscape architect about the lilac tree, and she said it would be fine.
It looked pretty.
Mhm.
So.
I didn't think it would, you know, like withstand the sea and the wind
Right.
and everything, but she said no, it should be okay.
That's so much.
Kathy, adding value.
Does anyone have anything else?
I just have a quick question. At work, we've been replacing all of our fluorescents with LEDs. Is that something that be a project that would be beneficial?
I'm
for
glad
us?
you brought that up, because I forgot to put that on the agenda. That's, again, part of that energy efficiency group. I just got an email today, actually. Good segue, you know? That I think week after next week they're doing Jacobs Beach, Bathhouse, Bittner Restroom, and Lake Quantapug. This week they're doing that. Next week they're coming here and they're going to start replacing a lot of lights in the building here with LED lights.
Okay.
And one of them that makes the most sense, which I'm glad they're doing, because originally they weren't going to do it, is the Guilford Room. Those huge lights up there. They burn a lot of electricity. They originally weren't going to do that one, and Steve and I talked to them about it, and I said, of all the lights in the building, that's what uses the most electricity. Why wouldn't you do that one? And they are. And so that we should see some reduction in electric costs because of that. I don't know offhand, I don't have the list of everything they're doing. I don't know if they're doing every room here, but there are LEDs that look like this now. That look like fluorescence.
Yeah, that's
so
what
you
we're
don't have to
doing.
change all the fixtures and everything.
There are two types. One you have to either rewire the ballast, or one it has a magnetic that's in the tube, and you just tube in, tube out.
Yeah.
But those are more expensive, but they don't have maybe instead of 32 watts, they're like 31 watts or 30 watts. But that's what we're switching over in all of our offices across the country right now.
I'm glad you brought it up because I totally forgot about that. And do you remember last month I mentioned how the big trailers, containers are at Long Hill Park? That's where all those bulbs are getting stored. Mm-hmm. And they're doing all the town buildings and all the schools.
Are they doing the kitchen, the pickleball, that area, the kitchen area lights, ceilings? Because there are lights out.
Above in the dining room area there?
Yeah.
Well, the reason there are a lot of lights out right now because it actually. Boy, I'm glad you brought that up, Jody. Because at the Board of Selectmen meeting this morning, Steve Neidorf got approval for he had to buy a new lift. The lift that Todd used here and that they used, which is not owned by us, it's owned by the facilities department. It's not working anymore. It's 20 years old, and it's again past its useful life. Steve got approval to get a new lift, so. They haven't been able to replace any of those light bulbs, and their ceiling tiles have to get replaced in that room down there too, because there's no lift to get up there. So that's why those lights are out.
Half of the kitchen, whatever, dining room
That's right,
area,
too,
whatever
yeah.
is dark.
Yeah, there's some bulbs that are out, and
Mood lighting.
yeah.
I think
Those, like the ones in the Guilford room, those are going to get replaced anyway by these new bulbs. So they're going to be here, like I said, in 2 weeks. They're going to start working on it.
So really, by the end of summer,
room you're in.
we will. This place will look pretty upgraded.
Yeah, it should.
Outside paint, new roof, carpet. Lights.
Just in time to have our celebration for the 25th
Seriously.
anniversary.
Spruce it up.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And just one final question. The parking lot seemed to be a lot smoother. Have the Public Works been going through and leveling out the...
At Jacobs?
Yes.
They did, yeah.
Okay, and at Chittenden as
they
well?
They did Chittenden, Jacobs, and Quantapug.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot of potholes.
Yeah, well, yeah, there were some fishing holes in the middle of the parking lot. So
Yeah, some people lost their feelings going
yes,
through
they
there.
did. You'd be surprised.
When they're next free cycle.
Yeah.
Even though I know that they hit it, it wasn't that long ago that they did it.
Yeah.
I just left there and there's like I thought my car was gonna fall into the hole. It was.
They, every time there's a big rainstorm,
Yeah,
especially after
I mean-
the winters, they come back, and that's the problem with gravel parking lots.
Yeah.
They're never going to.
Never be perfect
It's
for long.
Band-Aid.
All right. Well, if there's no new questions or business, I'm gonna call the meeting at 8:10. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:10.
And I'll second it.
So then we will all be back here on July 2nd.
Can I talk to you, both of you guys, for just a second?